Oh, for a second, I'm like, oh, are we gonna play Wicker Ball again? And then I remembered what happened last session. Oh.
See, that's what that Wicker Ball session. That was just good, clean, wholesome fun. Everybody laughed. It was good times.
And then they tried to murder us.
Yeah, that's the next session. That was. I made
really
sure
enjoyed
to
some
not
of that.
do that in the Wicker Ball. Everybody left that Wicker Ball session in high spirits.
Yeah.
This is that same map, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
where we left off, more or less.
Yeah.
There's two smoldering trees, and then Edmont's laying on the
Just
ground.
Edmont.
All right, so who has a 100-word summary of the trouble you got into last week?
We're investigating the vines after having negotiated, I guess, a ceasefire with the remaining werewolves.
No, this isn't a ceasefire. They have
They
pledged fealty. We are their lords now.
To quote Captain Janeway, sometimes diplomacy requires a little saber rattling. We took that to 11.
And then we see, one of us is cursed with lycanthropy, and he had a little jaunt in the woods.
Had an episode.
One of us is cursed to just ooze blood. And one of our NPCs is also cursed. She's here too for some reason. And then Ekon is fine.
The reason why Trieste is here is because the only person who can keep her alive right now is Ekon.
We don't know the long term.
I didn't consider that, but that's a little messed up. Like, hey, I'm the only person that can keep you alive, so you have to come on this deadly adventure with us.
Yeah.
And
She's got a gun.
for some reason at the end of the session, Jeannie doesn't have any blood.
Jeannie, where'd all your blood go?
How
I
did we
have
find out?
no idea. Ekon, where did all my blood go?
How did we find out that Genie didn't have
Something
blood?
actually happened to your blood. I don't know. Oh, well, you're just at low hit points. Yeah, that's fine. You'll be fine.
I mean, like,
So what happened was these living trees started raking you guys with this whip-like razor vine, and like Ekon sustained a lot of damage, or Edmont sustained a lot of damage, and Edmont's bleeding from the slashes. Jeannie also sustained quite a bit of damage, but she's not bleeding.
yeah, I have 6 hit points left.
There
and
are
I'm not
cuts
bleeding.
up and down her arms, the side of her face, everywhere that these razor vines raked against her. Visible cuts in the flesh, but they're not welling up with blood.
Okay, 2 questions. Like, is it flesh? Can I see, like, muscle and stuff underneath?
Are you going to study yourself?
The cuts aren't deep enough to be exposing muscle and bone. You'd have to cut deeper than that.
Okay, but, like, I'm squishy, I'm still warm, and I have a heartbeat, right?
Make a medicine check.
Ekon, I need you to come see if I'm squishy.
Can my retainer
warm,
assist?
warm, and still have a heartbeat.
I'm going to say no
please.
assistant on this because only one person can really check for heartbeat.
Should I be
Right,
doing that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have any concentration spells up? Nope. Guidance on this.
Please don't roll a 3. God damn it!
That's a 17.
A 17?
Yeah.
There's good news and bad news.
Uh-huh.
Ekon, the good news is you are able to detect a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is it's irregular. You're used to a consistent thrum, 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 thrum. Listening to Genie's, like an untrained ear would hear the same kind of thing, but you're hearing a much more... it's irregular in that it's more regular. It sounds more like a click, 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 click. So instead of the double beat every few moments, it's a single every few moments. By the way, Jeannie, you're definitely in a lot of pain.
Right.
Being at 6 hit points is not fun.
The only hit point that matters is the last one.
That's true.
All right. So fun fact. This is the first time in like 3 weeks I haven't prepared any AoE heals because just I never used them or before now. Like I've been preparing them.
I can.
I mean, I still have a bunch of slots. I don't have any way to.
I mean, we could just take a short rest.
Yeah, that's probably the most reasonable thing to do.
Just sit up on the cart. Take a Whoa.
You're loading up the giant trees up onto the cart.
I mean, well, I would say that we could take the lumber back, but I kind of set them on fire. They're smoldering.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of taking a rest. I can actually get a bunch of stuff back on a rest. So yeah.
So, Ekon, there's more good and bad news for you.
Oh, good.
The good
And
news is that you're pretty sure you might be able to diagnose the irregularity you're hearing. The bad news is you would have to dissect Genie and remove the heart.
Oh.
Do you want help?
There is absolutely. If there was a way that I could survive that, I would be for it. But since there is
Can you
not,
build an artificial heart for yourself?
I'm now picturing Indiana Jones, like, over this gaping chest wound in Genie's ribs, like, holding the artificial heart, just swapping
That
the
scene
two
from
over.
Iron Man, that's what it is.
There's definitely not a glow emanating from your chest. You are not Iron Man.
Come on, it's Captain Picard. Come on now.
nobody's gonna get that.
I got it.
I got that.
That's a good reference. McDohl, quality reference, my man.
Thank you. At least it wasn't Homestar Runner.
There's that great Q episode, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hold on. Challenge for you. No more than 30 seconds. Come up with a Homestar Runner reference for this.
Like, how many is it? Like, how many references do you want us to make?
It's one.
Oh, one that's appropriate for this situation.
Right, yes.
I'm gonna need some time. I'm sorry.
My
Oh,
blood
boy.
hurts.
That's a good one.
Did I win?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
So you
I
guys are
can't
loading
think
up
of
on the
anything.
cart, taking a short rest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead and take the benefits of the short rest.
Hey.
What's the
All right.
highest passive perception in the group? We got like a 17 cooking around, don't we?
I've got 17.
My
I'm not
owl
involved in
is
this.
19, I think.
All right. 68.
So, as you guys are resting on the cart, Ekon, you've noticed during the fight, as you entered, even before that, when you first entered the clearing where the cart is located, you notice that some of these bushes and some of these rocks were wrapped up, tangled in this red thorn vine. As you're in the cart, looking around, here and there you see it, some of it gets slurping back into the soil, letting go of the rocks and the bushes that it's holding, like spaghetti being sucked back down into the soil. And by the end of your short rest, there's no more evidence of red vines in this clearing.
I like red vines. They're tasty. I wanted to make that joke last week. I just never found an opportunity.
It's not
They're
as
better than
funny when you're getting
Twizzlers.
killed by it.
They're
It's true.
much better than Twizzlers. Anyway. So it's...
I have to open up calc.exe to burn all of my hit dice.
Yeah. This is not going to put me at full hit points.
Nope. Likewise.
So,
I didn't take much damage. There's not much for me to recover. I wish I could share my hit dice with you guys.
Well, the good news is Edmont isn't bloodied anymore.
oh, it did get me to full hit points. Look at that.
So you still know the general direction that the vines were leading you in from this clearing back into the woods, but you no longer see any vines anywhere. And Ekon is able to point out specific rocks that he saw the vines retract from. And by the end of your rest, I mean, the trees have kind of smoldered down quite a bit.
Anybody have any marshmallows?
I think I think what we do is that we direct our retainers to take this cart back to town.
I think we should give Trieste the... because she did not seem to enjoy this all that much. She can come with us or she can go home.
Well, she dares not go home because she's relying on Ekon's prayers every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we don't know like how detrimental that is. Like,
Do you really want to find out
Yeah.
when you get back a week later?
Trieste owes.
Just stay by Victor.
Yeah, she owes too much to her sister to find out the hard way that. And she seems a little put off by the remark.
oh no. I mean, like, I just don't want you to like get eaten by a tree for the same reason. That's all.
Picks of
So-
one, half a dozen of another.
Just giving her the option to back out if she wanted to.
So you want the retainers to pull this cart back themselves?
I mean, how were the lumberjacks pulling it back?
With an ox.
Ah,
Oh.
okay. See, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's an
Never
ox
mind.
cart.
Where are the oxes?
Not here.
Yeah, they're not,
Not
here.
here.
They had been cut loose.
Did they didn't come back with the people that came to tell us about this?
You don't know. It's possible that ox will return. They might have to hunt it down in the woods, but they thought better than to leave it chained up to the cart while there were horrible monsters around. I mean, with a survival check, you might be able to track it and find out where it went.
I think what we should do is let the retainers figure it out. They are strong, independent NPCs. Don't need no PC telling them what to do. We've given them
It's literally part of a class feature. We have to.
I know we've given them the mission of getting this cart back to base. They
So-
can figure it out.
They're still human beings with some level of intelligence. Like, you can give them complex orders.
Right.
So, do you want them to find the missing ox and bring it back, or do you want them to return to town and lead an ox here from the farms?
That's probably the better
Let's
call.
have them return to
honestly.
town and get an ox and maybe another person or two to help if they need it.
Okay. So, whose retainers are heading off? I forgot who had brought their...
I brought mine.
Mine as well.
There was 3 retainers.
Victor has his, but wondering if he should stay because he has medicine.
My retainer is kind of running things back in town when I'm not there.
And I think my retainer I wanted to send out on like an expedition to get seeds and stuff, but I don't know if that ever came up. I don't think I explicitly said I was bringing them, so.
So that's actually interesting. So you have your retainer left in charge and not Abernathy?
Well, I mean, she's like my... I'm training her to be like my steward, so like she is basically an extension of my will when I'm not there.
Okay.
She probably isn't like officially in charge, but she's kind of, if you need to ask Evie something, you would ask her.
She's the secretary.
Yeah.
She's taking messages for Evie for when she gets back.
So at the end of the short rest, it's a little after midday now, and the 2 retainers start hiking back through the woods to the south and east. They're going to go and find one of the fields and lead one of the oxen back with maybe 1 or 2 farm hands. Get these last of these silverwood logs loaded up. And get the cart full of lumber back to town safely.
Yes, and we tell them to make sure they pay special attention not to encounter any vines.
Now, they will give lots of clearance to any vines they encounter. They're well aware these vines are bad news.
So now that we've killed everything in the area, Victor and his retainer will investigate to find out if they can figure out where the vines might be coming from or which direction they need to head.
Well, there's no more left in the clearing, but you guys were headed in a north and west sort of direction, and heading into the woods about 50 yards or so, you do pick up more tangles of vines, heading in the same general direction as you have been this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the path looks to be more densely wooded than what's come before.
Do the vines seem to be growing on the trees like they were inside the clearing?
Tree trunks, rocks. Make me a nature check, Victor.
Okay, so you just be able to go with straight wisdom.
Yeah, if you're not trained in nature.
Victor is not trained in nature. He's a city boy.
He's what you call indoorsy.
Did anyone spend Orson's hit dice for the rest?
That would be an 8.
No. Did Orson... How many hit points did Orson lose?
He got hurt pretty bad, I think.
Oh, he's got 17 hit points left.
Does Orson have hit dice?
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he's got that kind of class feature.
Okay.
That was an 8 brick.
An 8? Yeah, you had no difficulty finding more clumps of the vine. Like I said, climbing up tree trunks, clinging to rocks, sometimes choking out bushes, and once in a while, dead animal remains. Those are easy to find. Less common than the other features, but you follow the stench. You follow the smell of decay. You'll find a dead fox.
Do the dead animals have blood or evidence of dried blood or anything?
They would have bled at one point, but yeah, it looks like they've been choked out by the vines. By the time you find these, I mean, they're just piles of filth and bones.
So there's wounds with blood around them, unlike Genie, who has wounds and no blood.
So relatively recent kills, you don't find any just skeletonized remains, however.
All right, guess I know which way we're going.
Okay.
Marching
Orson's
through
back
the
at
night, or going to stop and camp for the night?
I think we should camp.
Away from the vines, probably.
Is there away from the vines?
Oh, absolutely. You can put distance between yourself and vines. Like I said, it almost looks like they trace a straight line from your little township off into the woods, heading north and west. So heading into roughly into the sunset. So if you're going to camp for the night, but you don't want to camp near the vines, it's easy enough. Like, just how far off the path do you want to be? Like, spend the last hour of your day before sunset?
We're going to spend an hour, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
Like I say, at the end of the night, or at the end of the day, you just march 20 minutes straight into the north, maybe. You don't find another clearing. It's all pretty densely wooded. And getting denser as you move this direction. It does start raining that night, so it is a miserable existence. Somebody can make a DC 15 nature check. I'll let you have a fire.
Orson?
Nature or survival?
I would allow survival. That sounds reasonable.
I think Orson can make that, yeah.
That is a +3. He's gonna ask you for a guidance.
Go for it.
Okay.
Orson has nature and survival.
All right. That is 20.
Okay. So it starts to drizzle at first, and then the rain gets a little heavier over the course of an hour. Orson manages to get a small fire going, sheltered under a thick part of the canopy of trees covered by this bough. And he has to work to keep it from going out, but he's able to keep it roaring, which means the rest of you can be afforded a long rest tonight, should you want one. It's the first rain you've felt since you've arrived in Darkon that has a chill to it. So this is your herald. This is, well, it's getting into fall. This is
the seasons are starting to turn.
Summer is behind you, and it's going to get cooler and cooler. And it strikes you all that you don't know how cold it's going to get. You're not sure if the winter is going to be comparable to South Warren, or if it's going to get much colder, or maybe you won't get snowfall at all. Some winters, as far south as Brennanine and Mendelin, don't see snowfall. So there's a chill in the air, but thanks to your NPC, who, can I just say, by far the most useful member of this party. Like, he really should be in charge. He does all the work.
Without a doubt.
I would put the rogues in the bottom half of usefulness.
You know, if only we had a ranger.
If only. Rangers are good. They're not.
Ranger would probably be good in this campaign.
On her sad face.
So we're going to set up 3 watches over the course of the night.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Honoring Ravenloft would just...
Victor, give me a Constitution saving throw.
I don't want to.
Don't have a choice.
That would be a 15?
15.
Yes, 15.
Who has the middle watch? So the middle part of the night.
I could, because I do have the ability to cast. Do I? Wait, no, I don't think I have dark vision now.
Yeah,
I do.
you can basically have dark vision all the time because it's
Yeah.
just a short rest to get your key back.
Yeah, it's short run to get key points back. Yeah.
So, Edmont, you're taking the second watch. Whoever took the first
Mhm.
watch is dozing off to sleep. You flicked on your dark vision, keeping a watch. The rain has started to die down a little bit, but the wind has started to pick up. So you orientate yourself into a different position around the fire so you don't get embers constantly blown into your face. And then suddenly, Trieste is squirming a lot in her sleep. And you see Victor sit up, clutching his chest. And Victor, it feels like a really bad cramp just underneath your rib cage.
You know, I just read a
that's-
book where giant worms full of razor teeth burst out of people's chests.
Why would you read that?
I didn't know it was going to be in there.
I'll nudge. I'll nudge Ekon when he sees both Victor and Trieste having trouble, and assuming that it's some kind of medical issue.
And as you shake Ekon awake, Trieste, too, with much more difficulty, she needs to grab a nearby tree root to hoist herself up into a sitting position. And she's gasping, having difficulty with her breath.
If Victor looks down, is there evidence that, like, his body is ripping open or something? Like, is there blood forming?
So the wound on your chest is the teeth marks from where the guru bit you. And it's those teeth marks that are just not healing. And when you look down, it's to the point now you can touch one of the marks with your fingers through your clothes and come away with foul-smelling, slick blood.
I can fix it.
I mean, I'll go ahead and see if there's anything I can do. I've been tending these wounds pretty much as well as I know how the whole time, right? Like, is this any significant change from my perspective, or just it's getting worse and I don't know how to fix it?
The only thing you've been able to do... Well, I'll tell you what. Make me a... You have both Medicine and Arcana, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Make me whichever one's higher.
Okay. Can I put guidance on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 17 on medicine.
I read a thread, I think on EN World years ago, about some DM who started to disallow guidance because his players just wanted it all the time. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that?
It's a concentration slot.
It's like, so you're saying the guy just goes through the whole dungeon using guidance on his perception every 10 steps? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why not? It's great.
I mean, you have to speak in a loud voice. You have to take an action every turn to cast it.
Yep.
So
Can't keep another concentration spell up.
that was an Arcana check?
That was a medicine check.
That was a medicine check. Victor and Trieste have definitely contracted a terrible disease. It's beyond your means to cure. And it looks like the disease is fairly rapidly advancing. A typical person would be dying by this point. What you're essentially doing when you cast Lesser Restoration on them each morning is resetting that disease back to its initial state.
Yeah.
You think you can do this into perpetuity, but with each passing day, as that spell wears off, they're on a diminishing clock. And your fear is if you miss even one day, it'll be too much.
I'll just shake my head. It's definitely getting worse. I mean, I don't think this has gotten beyond my ability to treat it each morning, but Victor, I wouldn't go out camping without me around anytime soon.
Do we need to go find Aslan? Maybe he knows something.
Other than that, the night is not very eventful. And the morning takes a little bit longer as, looking behind you in the east, you have thicker tree cover. And so the sun is reaching you less and less. It would be a beautiful scene if your situation weren't so dire. You imagine it'll be even more beautiful still in a month or two when the leaves start to change.
So just a point of order here, Brick. After we finish a long rest, I cast 2 lesser restorations, and then I use a bonus action to get my slots back, and then I take a short rest to get my channel divinity back to power those. Just so we're all clear on how this is happening.
Also, yeah, go ahead.
Just churning the crank on that priest engine.
And also, Destil, because I forgot I got a level and I changed my infusions around.
Mm-hmm.
And I took your signet ring, and it is now a spell refueling ring.
Cool.
And
how many levels does that give back?
Just it can restore 1 spell slot of up to 3rd level. Remember, you used it a lot in the last campaign.
Wow. Okay.
So you get 1 extra spell slot of your choice up to 3rd level.
Yep. Is that a bonus to restore it?
Let me see.
I don't remember off the top of my
I also got Returning Dagger again, just for you, Saul. You
Thank
have that.
you.
Because
Or did you put it on one of my knives?
Yes.
Okay.
Should I just
Thank you.
keep taking Saul's dagger away over and over again?
Yeah.
I have so many daggers.
Right,
Good luck.
but you can only have 1 returning dagger at a time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you're still not quite red.
yeah, I think Red got somewhere in the range of 50 plus daggers.
It was something
You're
stupid.
like 15.
It was dumb. You would not be let through. You would be stopped by airport security.
Whose armor did I just repeatedly break? Was it Gus, whose armor just broke every few sessions?
No, that was Lucius.
Lucius.
That was Lucius's armor that got broken.
You did break my plate mail once, but you like Lucius lost his studded leather like 5 times to the point where he stopped putting his armor on.
Yeah.
So,
and we had to yell at him.
Out of
traveling now.
protest.
You guys are about 2 days out now. So Victor and Trieste are both marching today, and you're feeling okay after receiving the prayer and receiving treatment from Air and from Ekon. But you're like the front of Trieste's tunic and the front of Victor's. I'm assuming Victor wears like a frilly blouse.
Oh, absolutely, the frilliest.
And it's just stained brown now, and it's the smell of it. It smells like it has a sweet, acrid scent, faintly of rot. If it wasn't for Ekon, like the injuries would be necrotizing by this point.
Am I turning into a zombie?
And as you march, continuing marching to the north and west, every now and then, and the wind is always at your backs, but sometimes it just blows this whisper past you. You only need ask.
Victor will shake his head and mumble.
You reach a point in the forest, traveling still to the west and to the north, that it almost starts to get dark, even though it's only midday or maybe just a little past midday. But the darkness is because the canopy of trees is so close in now. And looking up, there are still trees all around you, but the canopy above you seems to be from one giant stretching mass of overhead branches. And a few moments after that, you understand why. It's because you are approaching the largest tree you've ever seen in your life.
Like all the skulls. That's a nice touch.
Well, that's not
Ekon,
ominous.
you got those fireballs ready, right?
I think these are... Let me double check. I think these are 20-foot squares.
It's a lot of skulls.
Some really big skulls.
They're 20-foot squares. That means
You said these are 20-foot squares?
I think so. I'm just double checking. No, these are 10-foot squares. So this is an appropriate size for your characters to be. The tree is massive. As you're approaching it, you can see it breaking through the tree line in front of you. The trunk itself is a good 35, 40 feet wide. And it's spanning out with roots so thick and so numerous that to even approach the trunk, you would have to start clambering up and on top of them. even as far as maybe 50 or 100 feet away or further out than that, you're treading upon soil that you can feel the roots bending under your feet. How deep they must go underground, you cannot even fathom. And you can't, as you approach this close to the tree, so you're what, about 50 feet away from it, you see the massive trunk ahead of you, and you can't see how tall it is. Looking up, the branches obscure your vision, and you're sure it goes higher and higher still. The reason you've stopped at about this point coming in, let me go ahead and give you a Trieste to play with, is because it's at this point you start seeing the skulls piled up in front of the tree. Hundreds of them, perhaps thousands of them. And with these red vines looping in and around their eye sockets, their jaw lines, lashing them to the root system of this tree.
Would we have seen the top of this tree? It seems like we would have seen the top of this tree from our village.
No, your village is 2 days away. More than that.
Fair enough.
It was just a canopy would probably disguise it.
It's just we found the world tree over here, it feels like.
I should just load up that Dragon Quest IV map. That would've worked.
All right, are we all going to pass around our temporary hit points?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Last until the end of a rest.
I'm just going to summon my.
So here's my thinking. Genie, have the flame turret walk as close as it can get, start burning. Ekon, unload all your fireballs, and we'll stand as far back as we can.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an immediate reason why to not just burn this tree down immediately.
Well, I was going to summon the protector turret, but okay.
Well, it's been raining really hard the past couple of days. So
Okay.
Everything is wet and sopping and dripping. So burning.
No, I'm on board with I'm on board with the protector if you want that.
Do we want to come back when it's dry?
Well, who here has nature? Your retainer who left?
My retainer had medicine. Orson has nature.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's got nature and survival.
I think Orson should try and see if there's anything we can figure. Orson or Genie with Arcana should try and figure out if there's anything try and think our way through this before we just start throwing fireballs and things. Because
let's
Agreed.
get.
Air grants me all the fireballs I need, but
fine. Let's take a look. But if I die, I'm coming back to haunt you.
You miss
That's
all
fair.
the fireballs you don't use. Remember that. Can you?
This tree has had its back broken against the knee of this tree root. And Orson looks at it for a moment. It looks like the trees are fighting.
do they have sides?
Does anybody here speak tree?
So what is Victor doing right now? Is he walking underneath these roots or is he climbing up to the top of it?
So he's gonna try and climb up, assuming there's no red vines immediately in his path.
Well, everybody but Victor gets 12 temporary hit points.
I'll take
What a
it.
baby.
Because I rolled right off the bat, rolled an 8. Or did Victor come back for that?
Yes, Victor came back for that.
Okay.
By the way, this map, the people who made it put their little advertisement booger off the border where I couldn't use it, so I had to crop it out.
What are Orson's max HP?
Orson's max hit points is 44, I think.
I would like to telekinetically, using Mage Hand, bring one of these skulls over to us
Okay.
from here.
And your mage hand can exert, 5 pounds of pressure?
I think I can move an object up to, it might be 10 pounds. 10 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
The skull obviously doesn't weigh more than 10 pounds. But the reason you can't dislodge one is because it's going to take more than 10 pounds of force to pull it free from the razor vine that's holding it to the roots.
Okay. Is that all the skulls? I don't see any that aren't, deeply embedded.
I mean, you try a few in a row, and maybe the 6th or 7th one, you manage to shake loose and pull over.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Victor, you're shimmying up this root system. Up to the trunk where it's broken.
Yeah. So, are there any red vines kind of along this trunk going up?
Only the points where the roots are still touching the soil, and not that many. So climbing up is relatively easy. It's a little more difficult than just climbing a tree because the roots are a lot bendier and they're covered in more soil than tree branches would be. But eventually you get up to the point, and yeah, you get up to where the trunk is split open. And you might have seen trees cracked in half like this after like particularly vicious storms in South Warren. But it looks like this one, the impact, it hit the big tree's root with such force that it just completely snapped.
Are there red vines kind of under it or in the area or anything, kind of like it's trying to overwhelm it?
No, not after you climb up onto it. And you're pretty high up. You're a good 10, 12 feet off the ground. That's how high this root lunges out of the soil here.
Jesus, how far is it from the crack in the tree down to the root of the other tree? Like, can I drop down to the other root?
Oh yeah, it's right there. It's just, and then from there it's just you climb down about 10 feet down to the ground. So yeah, Ekon's holding this skull in his hand that he's pried free.
Is it a human skull, Ekon?
As far as you can tell.
And
Not
there's no magic or anything about it?
Nope.
Alas.
Is this what happened to the people who used to live in our village? Was it this or the werewolves?
Somebody give me a medicine check.
I think that'll be me. So 27.
Yeah.
27. There are a lot of skulls here.
You think?
You've seen grave pits and things in your day doing archaeological work. You've never come across one that has just been filled with skulls. You would expect to find a lot of different body parts here.
Yeah, that was what was weird to me.
There are no other types of bones.
Someone brought these here.
Yeah, or
tree.
devoured the rest of the body.
Just humanoid, or are there animal skulls as well?
Just human skulls. Or humanoid.
Yes,
That
that's
can all put the skull down as respectfully as you can next to the roots of this big tree that he's standing near.
So looking at this large tree, the red vines are kind of all over it. Does it look like they're coming from a central point? Like, is this tree apparently the center mass of all the vines?
So the red vines are holding many of these skulls connected to the root system. And you see that they're starting to tangle up the bottom of the root system of the fallen tree. But looking up the trunk of the giant tree and then up into its branches, there are no vines at all.
So if Victor starts going up this branch here, do the vines kind of stop at a certain point, or they're not on this branch?
That's not a branch. This is a root. So
Root.
Climbing up it towards the trunk of the tree. Make me a perception check, please.
That'd be a 19.
19. So you climbed up this tree root, and again, it's pretty high up higher than any tree root has any right to be. You're a good 12 feet off the ground by the time you get up closer to the trunk. And looking down on either side of you, you see where these skulls are piled up. Off to your left, so off to here-ish, you think you can see in between some of the skulls where light is penetrating inward. Like there's a knot hole maybe 12 feet off of the ground in the trunk of the tree. If you could clear away some of those skulls, you might reveal a hole. The difficulty with that is going to be that these skulls are lashed to the roots and to the base of the trunk with red vines, which you have learned are super no bueno.
Oh, well, that's not that difficult. Ekon, I found the entrance. Get those fireballs ready.
Can we just... I'll just firebolt them.
Hold on. Let's not jump straight to blowing things up with fire, even though I know I said that already.
Do you want to go pull those skulls free of the vines?
Does anyone have a 12-foot pole?
No.
No? How would I carry that? Genie might.
No.
Genie, you still got that cannon?
No. We left that on the... I just so you
On
know,
the
I
river.
actually do not have my bag of holding at the moment.
Oh.
Only you had the cannon.
I have 3 infusions, and it's dagger, ring, gun.
You know what? I just Googled it, and the upside, Genie, is you've lost about 10 pounds.
Of blood?
Okay.
Oh, was Jeannie still... Was that condition still there when I checked her in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You were still able to bind up her wounds as usual. Her flesh still reacted properly to whatever medicinal salves you put on. I'm assuming like her hit dice worked just fine. She has hit points back.
We'll worry about it later.
Victor, can you throw like a fire knife up there to slice through it?
I can try, but there's a lot of
I want
spells
something
in it.
maybe a little more precise than just dropping a fireball over everything.
I mean, I can shoot fire bolts.
Yeah.
Yeah, fireball works.
All right. I'll just start shooting.
Back up everybody. Back up first. Get a max range.
Well, that's 100.
Max range 120, yeah.
120 feet. So we're like,
gonna
we
happen.
can just.
Yeah.
If you move 120 feet away, you're not going to have line of sight because the trees get pretty dense.
Well, okay, like so.
This is probably far enough right here.
This is about 30 feet.
All right, and I'm just going to start, like, basically Victor's like, there's the thing, and I'm just gonna walk fire bolts around in an arc around where he's saying that hole is.
Okay.
And just gonna continuously do that until
Make
we
me,
have a
let's
hole.
say, 4 to hit rolls.
All right.
Firebolt's a roll to hit, yes? Not...
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. My to hit is +7. All right. That is a 26, a 25, a 24, and a 20.
All right. So yeah, you start throwing firebolts up in the area that Victor indicated. Now make me a perception check.
That is a not great 8.
An 8. So you throw 4 firebolts up, and it doesn't look like you've made any headway. Because your firebolt has no difficulty like breaking one of these skulls. The small explosion. I don't know how many hit points a human skull has, but it can't be more than a firebolt spell can deal.
I mean, I can roll damage.
No, it's okay. But you're not making an opening. Anytime you break the vines holding a skull in place, it'll like fall to the ground and clatter and maybe fracture. But the spot where you're throwing it, it always seems there's a new skull to take its place. And the opening is not getting any wider.
How wide is the opening right now?
It's not. It's behind a sheen of skulls that Victor only noticed because he climbed up relatively close to it.
How close is it to the ground?
The skulls are piled up a good 8 or 10 feet up.
The opening, I mean.
The opening, you can't see it from there. Victor saw it when he climbed up about 12 feet up onto this tree root, looking along the trunk. So maybe 12 feet. That's about the area you were launching at.
So it's above. The opening is it's not even with the ground.
It's not at
like,
ground level, no.
Okay, that's
We
what
would,
I
have,
wanted.
we would have to attach a rope and shimmy down through vines and skulls, which Victor would like to avoid.
So
Judy,
is
those fireballs aren't doing it.
the tree
I
is
think
growing new skulls.
It's almost what
Probably
it looks
just-
like is happening. That
probably
can't
just
be
has a
what's
lot of
happening, but
Does
I'm
anybody have a
wondering-
machete?
No, I do not have any slashing anything. I have I have,
Orson, let's take a look, walk around this main trunk and see if there's anything else to be gained by looking at things from the other side.
so Edmont and Orson are walking around to the south.
Yeah,
I'm going to do just a walk around.
yeah.
So these brown circles are the tall trees that are still standing in the area. So they're relatively thickly packed together here. And then you've got other kinds of smaller bushes and things. And the pile of skulls persists all the way around the tree.
Is there space to walk underneath this root right here?
Not walk. You
Edmont's
could
make-
probably squeeze underneath it or climb over it.
Edmont is trying to disturb the roots of the main tree as little as possible when he passes through.
Then you're going to have to travel up and around this root.
Yeah.
And as you do, you see where one of the roots has been destroyed.
I'll call that out over here.
It
Pull
looks
out
like
the
it's
others.
been broken in half, and you see bits and pieces of it laying in the soil. So this part of the root is extremely badly withered, like it's disintegrating over time. And this part, you can see where it's healing up and is starting to grow anew and reach downward toward the soil. But something with mighty force split this root in half. But just looking at it, it's impossible to say what.
Looking upward, no, probably no chance of a lightning strike causing this.
It's not impossible, but you don't... make me a nature check.
Not trained in that, but okay. That's only an 8.
Yeah, it's not impossible. There have been heavy rains. Maybe it was storming up in this area. You didn't hear any thunder the past couple nights when it was raining, though.
What is the deterioration of this root compared to this tree? Do you think this tree did it? And that's why this other tree, like, went WWE, like, Batman Bane on this tree and broke its back?
Yeah, what I'm curious is, does it look like this was done intentionally by something?
I don't think it's possible for us to tell that.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Do we have an idea of how long ago this happened based on the decay of that large root?
Make me a nature check.
Can Orson make that check?
Yeah, if you point it out to him.
Yeah. What's his bonus?
+3.
7.
9, but only just.
Destil,
Yeah.
your rolls have been...
I got a 20 earlier.
yeah, I know. It's like, it's feast or famine with you.
So Orson got a
7.
7. Just, all you guys have some knowledge in how trees work and like the lumber industry and what the useful parts is. The problem is the roots of the tree are generally not your concern. You're just not used to roots like this. Orson says that he would expect a root to die pretty quickly if severed from the main tree, but he couldn't tell you if this looks appropriate for, say, a few days versus a few years. He just doesn't know.
Okay.
It's obviously a magic tree, so...
I mean, should we just climb up it and try and figure out if there's another entrance aside from that one we already saw that doesn't involve slicing through the vines, or?
So
Potentially.
Victor's
Seems like the
gonna
skulls are more in the way than the vines.
Give me 5 weeks, and I can solve this problem.
Victor, while they're talking about that, Victor's gonna go back and climb the root by where the hole is.
Okay, you climb back up there.
All right, so he's going to, from his pack, pull out his pinions and his rope. And he's gonna call out, "I'm about to hammer a stake into this root. Get ready to be attacked."
Thank you for the warning, at least.
So why don't you go ahead and everybody position yourself. And you're going to start
Victor,
hammering this python into the tree trunk?
Now,
Unless
Victor,
there was another place to secure a rope.
Victor, before you start doing that, what's your goal? What are you trying to do?
He's
There's a
trying to-
hole up here. We need to attach a rope so we can get down.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a few spikes aligning a rope along them, it would be really easy just to have like a rope walk over to where you saw this opening. And then you could work from there relatively safely, clearing skulls away. Is that the idea? That's what...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's roll initiative. That's a bad roll for Mr. Tree.
That's okay. We'll roll badly to compensate.
Wait till you see how I roll. Oh yeah, I got a 7.
Technically, this tree has a negative initiative. because it rolled a 1, and I don't know what a tree's dex is, but
It can't be that great. Oh wait, no, there we
What's
go.
the Trieste bonus?
here, let me
Chris,
duplicate.
initiative bonus would be +2.
All right, I rolled an 8, so she goes at 10.
All right. So yeah, Victor, you've at the top of the order here. You're just going to start hammering the spike in.
Yep.
So figure you'll probably want to spike every 3 or 4 feet apart. You've got to cover about 10 feet to get where the opening is.
Okay. He's gonna make sure after he hammers a spike in, if the tree decides to start moving, he's got something to grab onto.
Make me a perception check at disadvantage. Actually, don't, because you've used your action for this turn. What's your passive perception -5?
That would be an 11.
An 11. Okay, yeah, you hammer the spike in, and it goes in. It doesn't feel any harder or softer than regular wood. You just pound it through the tree bark, and you have enough days growing up playing out in the forest to know you've got to hammer into the actual wood of the tree and not just the bark. You adjust, thinking, okay, this tree's probably got bark thicker than I'm used to. You've got a good space to work with to loop rope through now.
When I hammer the spike in, does the tree start to bleed or sap really heavily?
No.
Okay. Nothing screams. There's no.
Nope. All of the skulls turn to look at you. Moving
How
or staying
creepy
put?
would that be?
So if he's got the spike in, he's gonna move to do the next spike.
Okay. So it's going to take an action each turn to hammer the next spike in.
Okay.
Genie,
Huh?
I think you're next.
I'm going to dodge.
All right, and then who?
Next up is Trieste,
She's going to dodge.
then Orson.
Is everybody's going to dodge all the way down?
I mean, that sounds like an okay idea.
I'm gonna move in a little bit, but yeah, otherwise I'll just dodge.
Likewise.
Remember, I was gonna die anyway.
You're the ultimate trap detector. That's a crit. I have a 17 to hit you, and I have a natural 20.
For who, Victor?
Yes.
Yeah, both of those would definitely hit.
Okay. Bear with me just one moment.
Maybe you're gonna die faster than you thought.
What's actually happening, if I might ask?
Victor, I have 7 slashing damage from the first vine.
Vines in the skulls.
We will be uncanny dodging.
Okay.
I would have uncanny dodged the crit, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an uncanny dodge crit.
So you're going to take that 7. And then 12 damage from the critical hit from the vines.
That's 12 damage whole.
It's 7 from the first attack, 12 damage from the second attack.
Okay, so 6 for the second one.
Okay. So, as you hammer this spike in, you wait a beat and start moving forward. The bark right around the trunk where you're working splits apart, and these vines wrap around your wrists and lash you to the tree trunk. You are restrained. Both wrists. In fact, give me a strength saving throw. Let's see if you hold on to your hammer and spike.
Strength saving throw?
Strength saving throw.
That would be a 9, good sir.
A 9. Then yeah, your tools clatter to the ground. And suffice it to say that you don't have any way to reach. Oh, I guess you don't. You just manifest.
I don't need to reach my daggers.
Yeah, you manifest psychic daggers in your hands. Restrained means you are attacking at disadvantage, though. So you can still take actions on your turn, but you can't move, and you are at disadvantage. And the rest of you down on the ground, you just watch this. 1 second, Victor is shimmying along and is about to place this second spike. The next second, he yelps out, and he's lashed by his wrists to the tree trunk, and blood is starting to leak down his arms. And Genie, you're like, I'm jelly.
I told you to use a fireball.
Who's next?
After the tree, which I'm assuming is this purple one or magenta, it's Victor with Genie on deck.
Okay, so yeah, Victor, you are restrained.
Okay. After cursing Ekon for not using a fireball.
Victor,
Yes.
I will allow you to use an action this round to make a wisdom check. Because you're not trained in medicine, are you?
I am not.
Okay, a wisdom check then. But this takes your action. So if you do this, you're not going to be able to take another regular action.
So if I wanted to manifest a fire dagger to cut the vines and get away, that would be a 2-hit roll at
You'd
disadvantage.
be making it a hit roll at disadvantage against vines that are attached to your wrists.
I don't think you can do that because it wouldn't count as a sneak attack because you're at disadvantage.
That's true.
You can do it. It just won't count as a sneak attack.
Well, he can't turn it to fire damage unless his sneak attack applies.
Oh, okay.
I guess we'll make
Sorry
that
for
wisdom
narking
check.
on you.
Go ahead and make that wisdom check.
Big fat 2.
2. So, yeah, you're lashed there, and you realize, like, you can manifest your dagger, but you don't have a way to use your dark power that you've been granted. It's like, wait a minute. Maybe that dark power wasn't such a good idea. Because now that I need it most, it's a you're starting to panic a little bit. And you're not moving anywhere, so unless you've got a bonus action you want to use.
Oh, I can't disengage?
The disengage action allows you to move without just removes the ability for others to make opportunity attacks. It doesn't give you any movement or anything.
Nope.
Can you escape with cunning action? That's the action type you'd want to slip out of the vines.
It's not listed as one of the actions.
You
I
can-
can hide. That's what I can do. I can hide.
I mean, you yell down, "All right, I'm hidden."
All part of the plan.
Who's next?
Got Genie with Trieste on deck.
Genie, this guy has so much blood.
All right.
Cut me free!
So 5, 10. Can I get how? Let's see. Can I get up
You can
next to
stand up
him?
there, yeah.
Okay.
Genie, if you cut my hands off, you're making me new ones.
I can technically do that.
God, Vorpal in one of our games, he played a multi-classed Warlock Monk. And as part of the game, he had his, like, a monster, like, ate his hands or chopped them off. Then he had, like, Warlock spectral hands to use his monk abilities with. It was pretty awesome.
Okay, so yeah, this is as far as I can get. So the vines are technically in the same space as Victor?
Yeah. You can use an action. So in this situation, when somebody's grappled and restrained like this, you can use an action to free them, or you can try to make it to hit roll against the vines, or I'll let you use your action to make that wisdom check.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm going to try and multitask here.
Uh-oh.
I need... Hold on. What is the distance on Tasha's caustic brew? 30 feet?
30-foot line?
Yeah, it's a 30-foot line. Okay.
Has Genie finally gotten tired of Victor?
No. So square. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, so basically a line stretches out to about there. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover Victor and the entrance that we're trying to cover open up in acid.
Okay. To be clear, you're not going to, so you're not trying to dislodge Victor from the vines.
I am
Okay.
with acid.
You can't damage the vines holding him without also damaging Victor. They're in the same square.
I understand that.
Okay. Because usually in this case, like, one player will ask another player permission, like, hey, I've got a damaging spell. I noticed you didn't do that. Is it because you're jealous he's got blood?
Is it because you already have artificial hands for me?
So, it's a dexterity saving throw is what it is.
I believe
You're trusting my dice rolls?
I believe being restrained, he automatically fails that.
So,
Yep.
but
That
what
is
about
accurate.
the vine?
No,
Do
he
the
has
vines-
disadvantage on this dex save, but he does
Oh.
get to make it.
Stunned that you automatically fail.
Right.
If he passes, do the vines pass?
No.
Okay, cool. Good luck, Victor.
Genie, in the future, I want you to run any plan like this through me first.
No.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and discuss everything in committee while somebody's being eaten alive by a giant tree.
Whatever, Genie. Just do it. Just make sure you can replace my hands.
I'm covering everything in acid.
Okay, so go ahead and roll the damage on that acid.
It is. I don't think it does that. It's creatures at the start of their turn
Okay.
until
Oh.
they. Yeah.
So Victor, you can hold that save on until it's the start of your turn. Then.
No, he makes a save now. If he passes, he's not covered in acid. So the way it works is I spray it, they make a save, and then they're covered in acid. If they
Can't
fail.
you just get really close and just spray it directly on the vines? Why do you have to stand at a
So
distance and
the
hit me? with it?
vines have been sprayed with acid, and Victor has pulled his chin back as far as he can,
Right. I need you to make a
escaping
dex-
the bulk of it. So it's going to be a dex save at disadvantage against Genie's spellcasting ability, which I have to imagine is pretty high.
15. It's average.
The 15 is pretty big
Yeah, 15 is good
when
for
you're rolling at
saving throws.
disadvantage. Although Victor,
told you.
are you trained in dex saves?
Yeah.
Okay,
I get a
should
plus, I get a
certainly hope
plus 6,
so.
but
good luck.
I mean, this isn't a whole lot of damage if you do it. If you fail,
I friggin' hate you. 13.
So yeah, Victor, your arms get coated in acid, and you hear the sizzling as it splashes along the skulls as well.
no, it's fine.
You better cure me.
Wait. It's Vine.
Haha. No. And Genie's gonna yell down at Orson and tell him to scrape the acid off of Victor on his next turn, and that is Genie's going to pulse the protector turret. So Victor, you get back. You had 12 hit points. You lost.
I lost 13.
All of them.
So you have 6 more temp hit points. And then, all right, that's in my turn.
Okay, who's next?
Sorry, next up is Trieste with Orson on deck.
Trest is going to dodge, so she's got really nothing to shoot at.
Victor.
All right, she shoots Victor.
And then
What?
who's next?
Orson.
Yeah, Orson's
Got
gonna.
Orson with Evie on deck.
Yeah, he's gonna run up, use his action to scrape the acid off Victor. Now,
Before he
Victor
does that, Orson can instead use his action to make a perception check this round.
What is Orson's perception?
This will use his action, to be clear.
Save that for Evie, I think.
Yeah, no, Orson. That's not Orson's job.
Okay.
Orson's gonna use his action to scrape the acid off Victor. Now you're not going to take the damage at the start of your turn.
So leaving the acid on the vines,
The
wrapped
vines.
up in his upper arms. Okay.
And whatever.
I'm assuming Orson has to move to here.
Oh, okay, that's fine. And then whatever vines and stuff are on the skulls in this line. Like I said, I was trying to angle it to cover the entranceway that we were trying to uncover in acid too.
And then who's next?
After Orson, we've got Evie with Ekon on deck.
Can I make that perception check?
Not from there, you can't.
How close do I have to get?
Probably right up behind Victor here. As close as Genie and Orson both got.
So remember, you can disengage.
Yeah, you can make it from there.
Okay, I'm making that perception check now. And I got a pretty good number. That's going to be a 19.
It's a good number. So from the ground, you were shooting these skulls. And you noticed that skulls were clambering to the ground as the vines were being destroyed by firebolts, but new skulls would appear behind them. When you're this close, watching the movement take place, it's clear why. There's a thick wall of skulls in this opening, and the vines are reacting to skulls being destroyed and moving new obstructions into place. So the bad news is it's going to take more concentrated effort than you've used up to now. The good news is it probably doesn't have an unlimited number of skulls in this hole. You're thinking another couple good attacks like those firebolts and this line of acid, which is doing some good work. And you'll be able to clear a way into this knothole.
Okay. Yeah, I'll convey that. It looks like it's running out of skulls. Or it will run out of skulls eventually. Then I'll just take a step back here. Let's see. I can give advantage to somebody if somebody's going to take an attack. There's not really anything to attack though.
You can give Victor advantage next turn. Well, he can't sneak attack anyway. Oh no, he could if you give.
No, you still have disadvantage.
Yeah, the advantage doesn't cancel that, does it?
Nope.
No, but you would only be rolling. You wouldn't have to roll twice to take the worst roll.
Okay, so is that the end of Evie's turn?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
You don't want to give Victor advantage?
I'll give Victor advantage, fine, that's fine, but I don't think it's going to help you that much. But if Victor wants to attack those vines, he'll have advantage.
Okay, who's next?
Ekon is up. Do the vines count as a creature for the purpose of being targeted with a spell?
Yeah, I'll say that's fair.
Excellent. I'm going to need a DC 15 dexterity saving throw from Sacred Flame.
Although
as
I don't
Ekon-
know, maybe it's like Genie's chess piece where it's an object, but it's also a creature, but it's still technically an object. That's a fail on that save.
All right, so that vine takes 9 radiant damage. And then Victor, would you like to be pulled 5 feet?
Yes, please.
As a bonus
if
action,
the
I
vines
pull-
release.
Now, if you're pulled 5 feet and the vines don't release,
Only if the vines release do I want to be pulled.
but also if you're pulled 5 feet, you will then tumble to the ground. You'll fall prone on the ground if you're pulled off that route. Is that the intent? Because he's about 10 feet up off the ground here.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
He's going to be better on the ground than caught up in those vines.
Yeah, the vines burst from around your wrists, and you yank
I
him
guess
back.
my familiar is now flying there, so my familiar will fly down and land on Victor's shoulder again. After that.
Victor, give me a... I'll use your reaction to make an acrobatics check, if you'd like.
How much is fall damage?
1d6 per 10 feet that you fall.
Yeah,
So
no
it's
reaction.
Up to,
So
I
it's a
think,
16?
20d6. 16? Okay.
16.
So I will either allow you to keep your footing 5 feet away from the trunk, still on the vine, or land safely on the ground next to Ekon. Your choice.
I'm gonna go safely on the ground next to Ekon.
And yeah, Ekon, you can see around, there's a red line where these vines were clasping onto him and blood beating up where it's pierced his arms. It's kind of a gruesome sight, but the wounds aren't... They look worse than they are. It's just that they're very strange looking wounds.
Hey, Genie, look, I'm bleeding.
Ekon, moving or staying put?
Check your blood.
It's the end of
privilege.
Ekin's turn. We've got Edmont with Tree on deck.
Don't really have much in the way that would just, blast away skulls. So that's not my bag. So I'm good to just dodge.
It's not in your monk bag.
Nope,
The monk bag is full of fists.
it is.
Tree with Victor on deck.
All
Alright.
The tree automatically fails a dex save versus acid.
And 11 point. Everything that got hit by that line of acid takes 11 points of acid damage.
And now that Evie has pointed out to the rest of you, you know what to look for. You see some of these skulls dissolving away, and the red vines inside the tree itself maneuvering more skulls into place. You think another round like that, and the acid might do the rest of the work for you, leaving you with only how to figure out how to get up into the hole without getting red vined.
You avoid getting red vined by buying Twizzlers instead.
I have Twizzlers right here, actually. I have a whole bucket.
Twizzlers
of
are
them.
gross. Listen.
Those are
Twizzlers
inspiration.
gross.
Okay, so that's the tree's turn.
Yep.
Well, I think we should just back off and let the acid do the work.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
You guys climb back down to the ground. So, Victor, your one spike is still in there. You're going to need probably 2 or 3 more to safely have a rope walk over to the hole. Watching the skulls do the work, you have enough room where you can squeeze into the entrance of the tree. In fact, I just realized I'm the wrong color here. There we go. get out the lens of truth.
A lens of falseness.
So you've cleared some of the skulls away from the knot hole. And it's big enough that you can squeeze through. The problem is that the hole is relatively high up off the ground. And climbing over to it is going to be dangerous. We can come off of initiative until you guys, as you want to figure this one out.
Okay.
So, Ekon, can your telekinetic stuff hammer in spikes?
It can move objects. I don't think it can actually like take actions.
Well,
It's just a mage hand spell.
But can it move it from a distance fast enough that it would penetrate into the tree?
No, it literally cannot do damage or.
Also,
like
he's only got one hand. And
Yeah.
It would require.
I could hold a spike in place for someone else to hammer it. I don't think that does anyone any good, but I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We need a long hammer.
Well,
Can Orson's polearm work as a hammer, or is whatever you got?
No, it's a harpoon.
No, Victor would die. Never mind.
Evie, are you strong enough where you can throw a dagger deep enough in the tree?
You know
My
what?
strength is 6.
If you give me about 5 weeks of prep time, I could kill this tree. Like seriously.
If we have 5 weeks, it'll be dried out and we can fireball it.
Can we just
'Cause I
throw
have
a rope through the pit we already have and climb up there?
If you were throwing a grappling hook up through it, you're not certain there's anything for a grapnel to find purchase on, but it's definitely
I do
tryable.
have a grappling hook.
Well, we can tie the rope around the one pin that's there, and then try to throw the rope in the hole from that point.
Send the familiar up to see if there's anything to attach a grappling hook to, and then get a combination of grapple of familiar shenanigans and psychic hand could probably affix it. So somebody send their familiar through. My familiar's dead.
My
Yeah, someone looks
familiar
up there.
he'll investigate to see if it looks like a vine is going to kill him. I mean, he has 10 hit points right now, so he wouldn't die immediately, but
Yep, 12 temp hit points.
if this looks like a death trap, he's not going to just dive in.
He's immortal. It's fine.
I mean, you know how dangerous the outside of the hole looks. You have to make that determination for yourself, my child.
Go. Do it. Do it.
All right, fine.
So this is what, an owl?
Yep.
Okay. Setting the owl into the tree. The first thought is that the owl has dark vision, which you're thinking might be an asset. Getting into what you expect is the dark organic inside of the tree. What actually happens as the owl makes its way in is there is a dim green light emanating from the hard wooden floor of the inside. There's space in there. And yes, there is purchase on either side where the outer tree trunk forms essentially a wall that you think a grappling hook could dig into. The light is emanating from what can only be described as veins running along the floor.
Well, that's unsettling.
But the owl is able to swoop right into this little hole. It doesn't have to squeeze because it's a tiny creature. But there's light in there, dim light, which you weren't expecting.
All right, well,
Can I point out the obvious problem?
what's that?
If we go into a tiny room...
The room itself isn't tiny. It's actually relatively large.
Okay, if we go into an enclosed room, knowing that all these vines are in these trunks, and we damage anything, what's the likelihood that it's going to squeeze us like a giant thorny hand?
Well, there's no evidence of red vines growing inside of the cavity beyond the trunk.
Didn't you say that the vines that got Victor burst out from under the bark?
They did.
So
Exactly. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not there.
all right, so here's the thing: is do we want to try? Give me enough time, and I could probably kill this tree. I have the infusion. I got the alchemy jug, and I will just sit there and do acid for weeks and weeks and weeks, and just pour it on the roots.
Last guy who tried that in my campaign ended up in outer space. I'm sorry, the Contra Arrow shell.
Well, if we want to go in, I will tie a grapple hook to the end of the rope, and then I will give the grapple hook to my owl to hook onto something.
Can your owl
Grapple.
lift that?
What?
Let me see how much it weighs.
And if it weighs less than 10 pounds, I can just put it there.
Okay, you could do it then, because the grapple, it weighs 4 pounds. That might be too much for the owl.
I think an owl could lift 4 pounds, but it's...
Mage hand can lift up to 10, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mage hand could place the grapple hook.
I don't know if it could place it, but the owl can kind of...
I mean, I can just let it.
I think
I can
between the
drop
two...
it, and then you can pull on it and let gravity
Yeah.
and the actual fact that it's a grappling hook do the rest.
And it takes
yeah.
a couple of tries. As Ekon raises it up with the mage hand, places it kind of out of sight of the hole, and Evie gives it a good tug. And the first time it comes out, the second time it pops back out. The third time it holds fast. And you tension it a little bit, and you're pretty sure it can support your weight pretty well. And even if you can, it's only like a 10-foot drop, worst case scenario.
Do any of the vines like reach out and grab it once it gets stuck in the bark?
They don't reach for the mage hand, they don't reach for the grappling hook, and they don't reach for the rope.
Well, all these vines that were here are in a acid goo pile.
Correct.
So.
All right, so Orson gonna climb up first. I'll go second.
All right. Now it is time to load a new map.
You do have the Dragon Quest IV map.
Oh, what was it? Beyond the Beyond? Have you played that? That also has a pretty good giant tree dungeon in it.
No, because that game is awful.
The game is terrible, but the tree dungeon, like, I still remember the music from it. It's okay.
Golden Sun's tree dungeon's pretty good.
Yeah, it's the same developers.
Yeah, it is. I'm not a big fan of Golden Sun either, but that's
I
a different...
love Golden Sun 1 and 2. Golden Sun 3 can eat my entire butt. All right, let me shrink you guys down.
Debigulate.
Debigulated.
Debigulator worked.
And there's... Well, go ahead. I don't want you guys to feel inadequate and like Trias is a giant.
No,
All right.
Trias
I have a
knocked me
spell for
over.
that.
So Orson's going through first.
Yep, I have
So
a
there
spell for
is
that.
dim light in the room as he scrambles in, and there are no vines around the opening anymore. You guys use fire and acid and dirty tricks, as far as I'm concerned. There's this dim green glow, and it's emanating from what I'm calling the floor of the room. It's a tight fit. You only have maybe 5 or 6 feet of clearance. 5 or 6 feet of clearance overhead, so you kind of have to stoop as you come in. But there are cracks through the wood through which you can see this emanation. You can also see a very tight crack in the wall over here. Other than that, there aren't any features, except for the grappling hook, which is kind of here at Edmont's feet. And one by one...
Is fungus kind of a deal?
Victor is going to warn everybody to stand away from the wall and get ready to cut his wrists free again. Because he's going to drive a dagger into the wall and see if the vines burst out.
Why?
So, driving a dagger into the wall is actually fairly difficult because it's solid wood. So I mean, you get your dagger point in the wall with no difficulty, and then you have to wrench it free. But you're not going to plunge it into the wall any more than you would plunge it into a dining room table. It's just not going to happen.
Good sign. And he's going to try the same thing with the floor.
Yeah, and you get the same exact response. There are... obviously, there is graining to the wood, and you can find places where cracks have formed, which if you really wanted to, you could pry your dagger deeply into. But the deepest crack is this one where this green glow is emanating from.
Yeah, he's not going to do it on that one.
And he's just gonna... Oh, I need a turret. Let me see. The turret is huge. But I'm just going to... Is this big enough for me to squeeze through?
Yes, but it's going to be very uncomfortable, and it's... I'll put it this way. It's big enough for you to squeeze through at this opening, but you can see that it starts to curve around the inside of the tree trunk, and there's no telling when it'll be too tight.
All right. Well, let me go through. I'm the one with no blood.
I don't like how
I'm being
cavalier
digested.
you
You sure you don't want me to go first?
No, I'm fine. I've already gone through.
So you're squeezing through?
Yeah.
And we don't need dark vision in here because the floor is glowing, right?
It's dim light in here.
Yeah.
In this particular room. It will be complete darkness as Jeannie goes into this crack. So how far do you want to go, Jeannie?
I don't know. Until I get stuck, I guess.
About 20 feet in, it actually gets a little bit wider.
Okay, so I'll stop here.
So there's a place where you can pull yourself free and kind of... was Victor squeezing in right behind her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now, Jeannie, you can't... If Victor gets stuck, you can't go back. But no, you find a place where it's a little bit wider. So you're able to kind of let your muscles relax a little bit. And it looks like it continues sharply inclined ahead of you, or it looks like you could squeeze off to your left. That left tunnel in particular looks really dicey, though. Like, you would really have to suck in your gut, and you're a pretty petite young woman.
Uh-huh.
Ekon's like a 7-foot tall giant
Monster.
out there,
Is Ekon going to be able to squeeze through this?
not wearing plate armor.
All
And
right.
this was the only opening in the room.
Yes, well, it's the only obvious one. But yeah, Ekon and Orson, because you're both wearing heavy armor, yes?
I'm wearing medium.
I thought you were wearing plate.
It's
Wearing
half plate.
But it's medium armor.
Oh, okay. Is Orson wearing heavy armor?
Yeah, he's wearing scale, I think.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't buy him the good one.
Victor is going to search for secret passages.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Let me see if I can't.
Actually, Victor, make this check at advantage.
So what am I sounding at? The D8 now? That would be a 26, and if that fails, it would be a 33.
Can't be higher. 30 is the biggest number. You can't get bigger than 30.
All right, so if a 26 fails, then it's a 30.
So the reason it's easy is because usually when you're looking for secret passages, you're looking like in a room filled with furniture, you're looking for mechanisms and seams and bookshelves, or you're looking for like breaks in the mortar in between bricks. These are solid wood walls and relatively smooth as well. Like, you get splinters if you ran your hand across them in places, but it would be really noticeable if there were cracks or seams where a door could open up. So it actually only takes you a few minutes before you're pretty confident that there's nothing that's going to, like, a trapdoor is not going to open up. The floor, the ceiling, the walls, they're all well within reach. You've got one entrance and one exit to this room, unless you want to start messing with these cracks in the floor.
All right. I need light. Can somebody give me some, like... Ekon, can you make my
Yeah, I'll make
my-
your...
turret glow?
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem. It's an object.
All right.
Now glows like a torch.
I use a second level spell slot, and I cast Reduce on myself. I'm now half as big,
Oh, okay.
and I'll be back. And me and my turret just kind of... And we go down the left path that you said was
My
dicey.
owl will kind of be behind her just to make sure she doesn't die in there.
That's fine. I don't have any blood.
However that matters. We don't know.
So yeah, your options here, you can continue forward or you can... The left.
Left.
You don't have to squeeze anymore because you're what?
Yeah.
A small or a tiny?
I am... My dimensions have been reduced by half.
So yeah, you were medium, so now you're small.
Yeah, small, yeah. But yeah, my turret and I are going left, but I lost my turret in the fog of war.
What's your passive perception?
Not great. It is 11, I think. Yeah, 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you squeeze your way in. Well, you're not squeezing. You're just kind of moving along. And you find a small network of such cracks in a couple of different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a north one, a west one, and a south one.
Well, I don't like this at all.
Well, I don't have... My turret is right behind me. Can you pick up my turret, Brickard?
Boop.
There you go. Thank you.
Boop.
So we're going to... could somebody actually kind of come into this to kind of keep an eye on me?
The owl's here.
Somebody that's not an owl.
Can I fit in there?
Yeah, you'd be squeezing. 'Cause you're a medium creature.
Right. There's a little bit of breathing room in this spot. He said.
Like, I'm sure at some point in your life, you guys have all had to like squeeze to the back of a crowded woodshed or something.
As long as we're not cave diving.
All right.
And it comes to a kind of abrupt end, and eventually it gets to the point where even your diminutive size, you would have to start squeezing. And it just gets narrower and narrower and narrower until the crack vanishes altogether and you come to its terminus in that direction.
Okay. And I'll go back over and around. I'll report my findings to.
Help! I'm still alive.
What?
I'm here. Help! I breathe still.
1 second, and then I'll.
So you start hearing this just desiccated voice emanating from this direction
Oh, this direction.
as you come back up from exploring the first dead end.
I hear a voice,
It's a trap.
possibly, but I don't have any blood, so it's fine.
The owl's on your shoulder now.
Heading.
Only vampires will leave you safe.
Well, the owl's on both shoulders now. Heading in the direction of the desiccated voice.
Yep.
And I can't go any further, right?
You cannot.
Oh my god. Did we find Bran? Is this what happens when Game of Thrones ends?
We don't know because never mind. I don't want to. I'll get upset. Jeannie, you have light from. Do you have a light source? Yes.
Yeah, the protector turret has got the light cantrip on it, so it's what 20/20 or 30. Yeah.
So the same
It's
thing
like
starts
torch,
happening
yeah.
as you go to the west. It starts getting to the point where the crack is so diminutive that you have to squeeze through even at your reduced stature. But at that point, you can see bark is forming along the wall here. And the bark, some vines have sprouted forth, and the vines are grasping the remains of a man. At first, you think it's a corpse because it's bent at awkward angles because man has been pulled forcefully back into this crack. You can imagine his shoulders dislocating and his ribs bending inward. And at first, you just think it's his corpse grabbed onto the vines. And then the corpse speaks. Its mouth moves. Its head inclines in your direction. And a vine is looped all around its eyes and up into one of its nostrils. Help! I beg you.
All right. So he's down this path right here?
He's been crushed. He's in this path. There's obviously no saving this man. Parts of his body look like they're starting to dissolve into the bark of the wood even.
All right. Can I see... So if I stand here, can I see the man and this spot right here?
If you squeeze, you're able to get all the way up close enough to the man to touch him. If you go that far in, you cannot see Evie anymore.
I just want to be able to see where I can see both Evie and the man.
So you can see the man, or I mean, I'm using the term man very loosely.
Right.
But you're not able to reach him from there.
Right. I just want eyes
Yeah.
on the man. All right.
And just a
Evie,
desiccated husk of a man.
Evie, I need you to back out, get Ekon into this spot right here. We need Ekon like kind of in this square right here, and
Ekon, can you fit in there?
I'm wearing medium armor. Is that possible?
As long as you're a medium creature, you can squeeze. If you were wearing heavy armor, you would have to doff it first.
Okay.
just hear the clanging and the scraping noises. It's Ekon. I need Ekon in this square.
I mean, there's a lot of it's scraping more than anything. His armor's scraping along the wood.
Yep.
Armor's not painted, is it? Like, you're going to have to refinish it when you're done.
Yeah, it is. It's black lacquered with rose gold trim.
Yeah, that's all coming off.
Can you squeeze back up a little bit?
Sure.
All right.
Here?
Yeah, that's fine. Vortex warp this gentleman into this square.
Okay.
Oh God. How many
That's
pieces did you come
distressing.
in?
We're going to see how bad this goes, and then I'm going to march.
Make
my
an
tiny
Arcana
little-
check.
Oh, okay.
No, just let
Vortex
him.
Orb has to target a creature, yes?
Yes. One creature.
Okay. Yeah,
Is he no longer a creature?
Make me an Arcana check. Let's find out what you know.
He's so
that is
he's an object.
15 plus 7, so that's 24.
24?
No, 23.
There is undoubtedly a part of this man that's still alive and is speaking to you. That part you can target with Vortex Warp. You don't know what's going to happen next, but there is an excellent chance that you doing this is going to kill him.
All right.
Imagine like having 6 knives, 6, 7, 8, 9 knives in you, and then immediately removing all of them at the same time.
Right, which is why I have Ekon in the other room.
More than that, wasn't who was it? Liberation had to turn himself into a gorilla and climb into a trap that broke all of his bones at once.
That's right, I remember that.
That's more what this situation is.
Yeah.
And I'll yell at the man. It's like, all right, I think I can get you. And like again, I have a little squeaky voice right now because I'm.
Then you better do the squeaky voice.
No. Anyway, I'm gonna yell at the man. I can get you out, but it'll probably kill you. What do you want me to do?
Release me. It's
okay.
torture.
We're gonna try and not kill you, but just so you know, if you know what, either outcome is probably favorable to what you're doing right now. Vortex Warp.
All right.
He's
Ekon.
in this square.
The thing that lands in front of you, you can tell it was at one point a man. And the desiccated cry that escapes his cracked lips is just this anguish. And you can tell by looking at him, like his rib cage is collapsed. His arms and legs are all broken, just hanging limp inside of the skin. You're not going to be able to do anything for him into this tunnel. You're going to have to try to get him back out into the open.
Is that going to be difficult in terms of like squeezing him against the wall or anything, or?
I would allow a dexterity check to get him squeezed back out, because you've got to go quite a long ways to get back out to the main room. If you pass the dexterity check, I'll say you're able to do it without inflicting any further damage on him. Because you're going to have to keep track of like all of his parts as you're moving him back at once.
I mean, I'm going to be terrible at that. Why doesn't Edmont come over here and do it?
Yeah, totally.
Like,
because then
is it safe to leave him in the state he is?
You and Evie would first have to back all the way out, and then Edmont would have to go all the way in, and you're not sure if this guy's going to survive that long.
Would a healing spell here, like, allow him to survive longer than that, or?
It's worth a shot, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. Let's do a healing word with the radiant light of air, binding his wounds using my house slot. That is 8 hit points back.
And it's hard to tell what, if anything, the spell has done, but he's still gasping for breath from lungs that are probably punctured. If you're going to move, you should do it now.
Move him.
Okay, I'm gonna. Well, I'm not like garbage at this, but it's just a raw dexterity check.
Call it raw dexterity.
Sure.
Actually, physically moving him isn't the problem. It's you've got to keep track of all of his parts at the same time. Make sure he doesn't.
Can I do a guidance on myself before I do that?
Yeah,
just
sure.
Sit here. All right, that's a 15.
It's like if you've ever like handled a broom and accidentally whacked your ceiling fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, Edmonds and Victor, is he pulling this gasping, just this husk of a person with shattered arms and legs and a caved-in torso. And yeah, you get him out here. So if you use tourniquets on his obviously broken and lost appendages, and with more magical healing, like you might be able to stabilize him out here. But this man has no quality of life left. Even if you do that, you're not sure you'd be doing him a kindness.
Is that a medicine check?
Yeah, be a medicine check. And I would let somebody assist you if they're also trained.
Are you medicine checking to like
a medicine checking just to mostly like keep him, stabilize him, like especially his lungs.
I thought you were going to do the opposite and just like suffocate him with a pillow or whatever.
I don't think that's a medicine check. Is anyone else trained in medicine, or is it just me?
I think it's just you.
My retainer is, but I don't know if he came inside with us or
I
not.
think
not here.
they took the cart.
Yeah.
They went to
Yeah.
get the cart. That is a 20 on medicine.
20. You can probably preserve this man's life long enough and try to make him comfortable enough that you might be able to hear his last words, but there's no saving his life unless you're going to expend magic to preserve him.
Okay.
And regenerating his lost limbs is beyond your ability at this point. But his
Forcing
breathing
his medicine
becomes a
away.
little more regular. He's no longer gasping for breath. It was torture.
Did someone put you in there?
I was sent. My Lord Randis bade me investigate. My men
Investigate what?
were slaughtered. The blight in the woods.
Where is your lord?
I serve Lord Randis. They call him the Squelcher Lord. Behind his back, I served him diligently.
Where is his castle?
I wanted to expand, but the woods were blighted. I was to find the source. My weight in gold, he promised me. You must tell him I succeeded. So then my sons will.
Where can we find him?
Then his head droops down, and the man breathes no more.
I mean, he obviously was not in a state to answer questions.
Anybody can speak. Any of you speak with dead?
Not today.
Lord Randis. So we'll have to look into Lord Randis.
I wonder if he was a previous lord before we took over.
We don't know how long this land was empty.
All right, I'm no longer small, by the way. The spell ran out.
Cool.
But
All right. Well,
Now what?
You want to squeeze through there?
I mean, I can
Yeah.
continue to squeeze through. It's just this was real narrow.
yeah.
So
Evie doesn't wear any heavy armor, and she's not real small. She's 5'7", but I don't know how much height matters.
So we're leaving the man's body here in the first room.
Ekon will tend to it as well as he can.
And this
But yeah, like for right now, I think that's.
is he wearing any
appropriate.
clothes or does he have any
prop him up
heraldry
against the
on?
wall.
Should we put him outside?
No, I'll
with
put him
stones?
to rest. I'll put him to rest over near the entrance.
Okay. So you rest
just-
next to your grapnel.
Are we gonna burn his corpse too?
We should probably burn his corpse. We should probably put him outside and burn his corpse before he comes back and eats us while we're stuck in the walls.
Does he have any clothes or anything on anymore?
Possibly at one point, but
Well,
just rags at this point.
I know I'm looking for any like heraldry specifically,
No.
so we could use to track down Lord Randis.
So from Jeannie's spot here, she would continue to both squeeze and climb up this incline. Is that our next move?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Seems like our good move. Yeah.
Climb up this terribly tight tree trunk when we come back from our break. Go ahead and get your coffee, get your bagel. We'll reconvene in about 15 minutes. Oh, we're off daylight savings time now. So it's 15 minutes an hour ago.